Hello, my name is Thane and I like to experiment with weird AI art. There have been so many updates and new features in Midjourney lately that I am having a hard time keeping up with all the new stuff. So today I will be taking a closer look at the new -- weird feature that you can also do with -- W. The range of the values you can set can be from 0 to 3000, with 0 being not weird at all, 1000 being weird enough and 3000 reportedly too weird. So I went ahead and tested out some words with the weird feature to see what it does and if I get anything that I like out of it. Some of the words were something that I've used before in my experiments and some of them are new to me. Also, the official announcement made a suggestion to use the -- stylize as well to make images weird and pretty. So I also did that and maxed out the stylize to 1000 for each of the 3 levels of weird. For some reason it was also mentioned in the announcement that combining -- weird with -- seed is messed up. I have no idea how that actually manifests, so be aware that I have not included the seed number to the prompts appearing on the screen, but I have used the exact same seed number 777 in each of the image grids generated for this video. Alright, so let's just look at all of the weirdness and start off with an adventure without stylize. I do like the non-weird images, but indeed the weirdness increases to such a point with this prompt that I am not a fan of the other images. Surprisingly, the weird setting of 3000 is not actually that much different from the weird 1000. In my opinion, it's certainly not as weird compared to 1000 as was advertised in the announcement. And this is what happens with the stylize maxed out. I still really like the non-weird images. The weird at 1000 is looking better, but only the lower right image would probably be something I would upscale. I guess I actually don't like weird stuff that much. And weird 3000 adventures are indeed too weird for me. The next word is airplane, and it looks quite normal and pretty in the non-weird images. 2 images look very similar at weird 1000 and weird 3000, but I don't really like these. Stylize 1000 makes all the images somewhat prettier. The non-weird ones are okay, but they have gone a bit weird even without the weird. And I kind of do like the weird 1000 top right image with the temple. And now this one has some potential to be really weird. Non-weird ones look really cool. And the weird levels make the images look simply strange. But stylize 1000 does really improve all of the images basically. The aliens with the weird setting do look weirder than the non-weird aliens, but there's some really cool pictures here. Definitely some very creepy aliens. The prompt animal gives us this. I don't actually really like the non-weird images that much either, and I guess all of these images don't really appeal to me at all. But the stylize 1000 improves things a little bit. At least I really like the non-weird ones. And the lower left weird 1000 image as well. Now architecture. Is it just me, but does it kind of look like that increasing the weird level kind of reduces the amount of detail in the images? Stylize seems to bring it back a bit for the weird ones. This one is supposed to be Aurora, as in Borealis, or Northern Lights as they are also called, but it doesn't really show up here. We get some really random stuff that sure is weird. Stylize 1000 makes the non-weird images really pretty, but not exactly depicting what they were supposed to. Only the top left weird 1000 seems to be reminiscent of Northern Lights. In the case of bicycle, I feel like the levels of weird make the bicycle images look less weird than the non-weird images. Stylize 1000 does some cool stuff again to the non-weird images, but the bicycles in the weird images look mostly like normal bicycles and not flower arrangements. For buildings too, the weird level seems to decrease the details with the exception of one image in the lower left of the weird 1000. And stylize again brings more detail in. So far I get the sense that the weird just goes for more uglier or unconventional stuff. For the prompt butterfly we sure do get an overload of butterflies with the non-weird images. I do like both the top right images of Weird 1000 and Weird 3000. And Stylize really improves the non-weird butterflies to a level where I really like these images. And surprisingly I absolutely love the Weird 1000 top right image. Next up is Cave, which produces some concept art looking stuff for the non-weird. And I guess child's drawings with the higher weird levels. Stylize 1000 improves the caves a bit. I love the non-weird. Weird 1000 looks more normal, and I still don't know what's going on in the Weird 3000 images. Weird does seem to make city images less detailed and cluttered, but I still don't like any of these images. But Stylize 1000 does make an improvement. Non-weird images look great and the other weirder images look better than before, but they're not something I would really like. This prompt is cloud. Non-weird images look cool, weird images do not in my opinion. With Stylize 1000 the clouds still look cool at non-weird, even though some of the clouds have morphed into a face or flowers. And weird images still don't look cool. Moving on to darkness, which is an entirely different story. I feel like this produces some really edgy images basically always, no matter if all the other default styles look totally ugly, this still looks mostly really awesome. Okay, so I don't particularly like the Weird 1000 lower left image and Weird 3000 lower right image, but the rest are fabulous. And Stylize 1000 just basically improves all of the images. They don't look anything like at the default Stylize level, which is surprising, but I don't see any images that I would dislike here. Okay, maybe the Weird 1000 lower left image I don't like. But otherwise weird stuff that looks beautifully weird to me. Again, moving on with a contrasted desert which looks very bright compared to the darkness. I like the non-weird images, but that's it. Stylize 1000 really improves again basically the non-weird images. And I still don't really like the weird images of this prompt. Next one is Dream. And I wish I could have slept through all of this, because I don't really like any of these. Even the non-weird ones are just too ordinary for me. Stylize 1000 does some improvements. The non-weird ones look better. I do kind of like the top right one of the Weird 1000. But I absolutely love the lower right image of Weird 3000, it has such intricate detail. Next up we look at energy. I expected more impressive stuff out of this prompt, but I've got only one seed here, but I've got to make comparisons somehow. Stylize again improves the non-weird images, but weird images indeed look weird and not that great. Fantasy always does some great stuff too, so non-weird images look great. But the same is not passed on to the weird images. I feel at this point that weird just does random stuff sometimes regardless of your prompt. Stylize 1000 does again improve the non-weird images. A few images of Weird 1000 also look better, but Weird 3000 is indeed just too weird. Now we look at fireworks. Non-weird images look nice, nothing really spectacular though. And nothing that's spectacular in the weird images either, just an observation that Weird 1000 and Weird 3000 images look really similar with tiny differences. Stylize 1000 seems to lose the actual fireworks from the non-weird images. They look nice though, even though they are not depicting what they were supposed to. And now we see some more differences between Weird 1000 and Weird 3000. The prompt flower adds several flowers to the non-weird images along with a woman. Weird does seem to listen to the prompt a little better and mostly shows us one flower, and nothing fantastic to see here in my opinion. But this time the Stylize 1000 really improves the images. especially all the weird ones. They don't look that weird anymore, and some of them look even gorgeous. Here is food. I do feel like it looks weird even in non-weird images. Stylize seems to improve the look of all the images. The weird images are kind of even more normalized than before, with a few exceptions. Forest always looks pretty in my opinion in non-weird images. Weird makes the forest look different and not necessarily that great. With Stylize 1000, the non-weird forests look stunning. And the weird forests look a bit better, although nothing as fantastic as the non-weird has. Now we'll see Galaxy. A few nice images here in non-weird. But weird images are indeed weird. This is such a difficult concept to depict, possibly too. Stylize 1000 does improve all of the images, I think. Some sci-fi elements going on in the non-weird images. And I think I most like the top left image of the weird 1000. This one is heart. And we do get some hearts in various shapes and depictions. I absolutely love the non-weird lower left image. Stylize 1000 somewhat improves all the images, basically, adding a lot of blood vessels, it would seem. This one is history, another difficult to picture concept. And what we get is some random stuff regardless of the weirdness setting. Stylize 1000 does something. But all of them still look weird regardless of the weirdness setting. And nothing really clearly screams history at me out of any of these. This one is house. In the tradition of the version 5, the non-weird houses too look weird with all of these floors stacked on top of each other. And the weird houses look more normal actually, but still kind of weird. Stylize 1000 seems to add more detail and make even the weird 1000 houses look similarly very tall with multiple floors. This one is infinity, another really hard to depict concept. But I think that the non-weird images have turned out wonderfully. Weird images seem again similar to each other, and they tend to play around with the infinity symbol. Stylize 1000 somewhat prettifies the images, but I don't particularly enjoy any of these images. Okay, maybe the weird 1000 lower left image looks quite nice. Moving on to interiors. Nothing that spectacular here either, and nothing really that weird as well in the weird images. But Stylize 1000 improves things a lot. Similar arched windows and domed structures seem to be repeating there even in the weird side. And some of the weird images even look quite normal and actually not as weird as advertised. This is island. Non-weird images look nice. And both the weird lower left islands look okay too. The rest do not. Stylize 1000 does prettify and add lots of detail to these. And I actually quite like the top right and lower left images of weird 1000. This one is landscape. I think the landscapes look even weirder here without any added weirdness. And also I don't really like the weird images at all. Stylize 1000 really improves the non-weird images. But I still don't like any of the weird images of this prompt. Next up is love. The non-weird images look pretty. But the weird images indeed are weird. I mean, what is going on there with the ape man? Stylize seems to indeed make the weird images more prettier in this case, at least some of them. The ape man is still there with 3 hands and without the ladies. The best images here seem to be basically all of the weird 1000 images. This one is macro. And it tends to be weird even without any added weird. Stylize 1000 does some nice stuff to the non-weird images. But all the increased weirdness images are just a bunch of totally random stuff. Now we look at man. Non-weird images look quite artsy. And weird images indeed look so weird, I have no idea what's going on in there. Stylize seems to improve the stuff, there's more artsy and flowers now, but Weird 3000 is totally weird still and possibly not in a good way. This one is Mirror. Non-weird seems to have lost the meaning a bit, and I guess we see pictures or sculptures or paintings instead. Weird images do seem to have some reflection stuff going on, but indeed they are weird. Stylize 1000 has just made some pretty images with non-weird, but doesn't exactly follow the prompt. And weird images have not improved in prettiness, still quite weird. This one is Moon. Midjourney seems to not know really what moon is anymore, or it just likes sleeping ladies too much that there's barely any moons in the non-weird images. Weird images do have moons, but I don't really like these images. Stylize 1000 is still 50-50 with the moons, but the Weird 1000 top right image looks gorgeous. Next up, Mountain. The non-weird mountains look epic with the lighting and the looming clouds. The weird images look just ugly to me. Stylize 1000 makes the non-weird images even prettier. But the weird images are just slightly less ugly. Moving on to music. I do kind of like the lower left weird images. But the rest are not really for me, just random stuff I guess. Stylize does improve the non-weird images and even the Weird 1000 images. I don't know what's up with the guy laying down on the floor in the Weird 3000, that is definitely weird and completely unrelated to anything. This one is Mythology. Even the non-weird images look too weird for me and they are too maximalist for my taste. Stylize 1000 somewhat improves them, but not the weird images. This one is Ocean. Another one that isn't looking that great across the board. I mean, the non-weird ones are kind of okay, but nothing spectacular. Stylize improves the non-weird ones a lot, but the weird ones are still too weird. This is Portrait. Again, non-weird ones are kind of okay and weird ones are truly weird. Stylize kind of normalizes the weird I think and adds too many flowers to the non-weird. I like the Weird 3000 lower right image, it looks different. And this one is Rainbow. And it makes the images very colorful. Non-weird images look okay to me, weird images are again so weird I have no idea what to think of them. And Stylize just steamrolls this prompt and loses all the colors and the actual rainbows from the non-weird images. Weird images still have the rainbows, but the images don't look particularly good to me. This is Reflection. In some images we do get some reflections. But weird is just so weird. And even the Stylize 1000 doesn't really improve things. But there seems to be a Cyclops in the top left of Weird 3000. Alright, moving on to Robot. Non-weird robots look nice and not that scary looking. And weird robots look simply weird. I'm starting to kind of see some kind of a correlation with the secret -- cursed style of Midjourney version 4. Except this one most of the time can't be improved with maxing out the stylize. Yes, these are robots and yes, they are quite weird and I don't really like these at the moment. This one is Science. And certainly there seems to be many experiments going on. Stylize 1000 improves the images a little bit, but not that much for me to like these images. Moving on to Sci-fi. Non-weird images look quite cool. And weird images don't really stir any feelings in me. But Stylize 1000 is a different story. I love the non-weird images. But I do love some of the weird images as well. Especially the lower right one of the Weird 1000. I have had really beautiful ship pictures in the past, so here is Ship. But these are all just okay or just slightly odd. Stylize 1000 does something. Possibly makes the weird images just look a bit more normal. But unfortunately no fantastic images here. Okay, the non-weird ones look good, but they don't stand out. This one is silhouette. And I think it tends to produce nice images no matter what. The non-weird images are beautiful. But the weird images are not at all that weird and not ugly mostly either. And increasing the stylize seems to remove silhouette from the non-weird images somewhat, but the weird images look really nice. These are some of the better looking weird images compared to some that we have seen. This one is Snowflake. And the meaning behind this was to try and depict a close-up of some actual snowflakes that can have some amazing looking symmetrical unique patterns. Quite many faces here though. Stylize 1000 actually has the snowflakes I wanted to see with this prompt, but the weird images look quite pretty as well. Definitely not that weird. Next up is star. A word with several meanings and shapes. I mean, an actual star is just a sphere, but here we see a lot of the shape star, which is not the actual shape of the star if you know what I mean. But there is a lot of random things with stars in the image. Stylize somewhat improves all of the images. I really like the non-weird top left image. But the rest of the images, not that much actually. It's been a while since I last prompted statues. But I like the non-weird ones. The weird ones, not so much, they indeed are totally weird. Stylize 1000 does improve the non-weird ones and even the weird 1000 ones, but weird 3000 images are still quite bad. Next one is street. Nothing really to see here, average pictures. The weird ones are even not that weird, just a little bit ugly. The stylize does really improve the non-weird images. But weird images still look basically the same. This one is sunrise. Non-weird images look very nice. The weird images are 50-50, there's okay images and there's bad images. Stylize 1000 makes the non-weird images look kind of epic. And it somewhat improves a few of the weird images too. Sunset is equally pretty in non-weird images. But weird images have a goat instead of sheep. But similarly to sunrise, the stylize value seems to make the non-weird images really pretty. And I guess there's some okay looking images in the weird ones as well. At least they're not that weird. This is Supervillain. Non-weird images look great again. Weird images look cartoony and simple compared to non-weird. Stylize does make the non-weird images even cooler. And even some of the weird ones. I do like the weird 1000 top left image. Now moving on to technology. Weirdness all around, the non-weird ones look quite weird as well. Stylize has made some of the images look quite nice. Although I don't know what the non-weird lower right has to do with technology, but it looks great. And the earths in the weird images look pretty accurate. Not sure what I was expecting from this, but here is telescope. The non-weird images look okay, I guess. And Stylize 1000 just loses the telescopes from the non-weird images. And the weird images are still bad. Here is time, often depicted with clocks by Midjourney. The images do look quite weird overall, even the non-weird ones. I do like the fire clocks. And Stylize 1000 really improves the look of the images. It's kind of hard to tell what time it is on these clocks, but I love the weird 1000 lower right image. This one is village. All around quite whimsical. And here is another case where it is so obviously visible that weird drastically reduces detail from the images. And Stylize adds it back. There is nothing that weird going on in these images in my opinion. This one is Waterfall. Non-weird ones look nice, weird ones look basically as ugly as mountains did. And Stylize 1000 improves just the non-weird ones, with weird images still being quite ugly. Even though I absolutely love waterfalls usually. I can't go on a trip with waterfalls on the side of the road without taking at least 10 photos of each waterfall we pass by. Now is the turn of wildlife. And I don't like any of these images. And adding some stylize doesn't really improve these images, I still don't like them. They're all weird in a bad way. And the last one we will look at in this video is Wizard. Non-weird images again look great, but weird images do not. Stylize 1000 does not do much at all basically, I don't see a big difference with neither non-weird nor weird. Okay, we looked at all of this weirdness. There were a few gems there that I really liked and they basically were combinations of weird and Stylize 1000. But most of the time all of the weird images look just so very strange and odd. And I guess this is a really thorough investigation into what the weird does with Midjourney 5.2. I think I used up a lifetime supply of the word weird too, I guess it was repeated over and over again in this video. But I hope you at least got some insight into this new feature and what it does. And I realized that it does some really ugly stuff, depending on the subject. I don't know if I'll ever be using this feature ever again though, it just might be too weird for me, but we'll see. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed the weirdness of this video and leave me comments too. And also please consider subscribing to my channel for more experiments with AI art. Thank you for watching and let's continue prompting.